let's go over with you guys assignments first, and then uh, any question that you guys have.
No.
Okay, so let's like then assignments, your assignments, what you guys did. If you can present and show, that would be like really great. But whatever the way you want to present. So one by one, if you
Yeah,
can.
I might. I'm sorry, I'm cutting everybody off, but yeah, I might have to like present it by speaking. Because
Okay, yeah, that will work for me. So who gonna wanna go first?
doesn't matter. I guess I'll volunteer if it's okay.
Okay, yeah, sure.
All right. So the assignment was based on like we have to create a scenario, right? Like be a stakeholder, project manager, like be a project manager and everything. Describe what they do and what be a business analyst does, right?
All right.
Okay. So as a stakeholder, I created a scoreboard project for the All Star game. Which is they need it done in like 7 months. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Keep going.
Okay. So for that, and then which isn't like like I said, it'll be like for 7 months, 7 to 8 months is from like January to like July. So I'm gonna come down straight to like as a project manager, like me being a project manager, creating a scenario, so as a project manager, I'm getting the project like project timeline from the stakeholders, how many out like how many months they need the project needed to be done. And then I'm doing a resource planning afterwards with the team, software, hardware, what I need, what kind of software do I need for that. And then afterwards, like as a project manager, like I'm just saying that, then I'm hiring a one full-time BA for this project or two BAs for this project, depends on that. But I I'll probably say one BA, and then I'm gonna prepare a timeline with the team. How many months that BA needs, system analyst needs, developer needs, and for the last part, the testing phase, like a QA. All right. So that's as a project manager, that's what I did. And then as of a BA, like, okay, so I did two on this. Shazad, can you explain it to me? What do you want to know? Like, even though you wanted to know what BA does in this project, or like what BA means in this project? You want me to describe it, both of them, or like what he does in this project as of like the way I'm presenting myself?
You can go one by one.
Okay, so you want me to do both of them, right?
Right.
Okay, so as a like what BA does in this project, whatever I created, that like the stories, or like the resource planning and all of that, and like what the requirements that BA needs for this. So when it comes to BA, like it like his job is like to work on the requirements, the documents, get everything together from the stakeholders, what they needed to be done, for this project, what is due in like 8 months. Then he goes like then his job gets done when he gets everything, when he gets everything, like he understands the projects and everything, like when he gets his job done, then it moves on to system analyst, which is designs the system, which however many months he needs. But I'll explain it the months. So I put BA for 2 months, system analyst for 2 months, developer for 2 months, and QA as a like 1 month. How you explain it to us? I probably copy and paste on that. Sorry for that. But then then the system analyst, like he explains the requirements, the stories and everything to the system analyst, which is design the system. Then it goes to developers who cores and who codes the system that is designed by the system analyst, right? And then as of on all of that pictures, and then while he's working with developers, like you said, like how you put it down, he asked, if anything like the system analyst, developers needs, or the change to be requirements and stuff like that. So BA, that's what it does. Like he has the meetings every day. If something needs to be changed, or there's some different requirements come, he communicates with the whole team, which system analysts, developers, like basically his main job after he gets his job done in 2 months, when he gets everything together, basically his job becomes to communicate with them, communicate with the rest of the team, and communicate with the stakeholders if anything needs to be changed in the project. So that's how that's what I had. I don't know if I got that right, you know.
All right. And then the question to like all of you. So you guys heard him. So one by one, can you like point out where what mistakes he did? Like, as per our understanding and discussion, where he basically like deviated uh, from that like standard.
Mm. I think he deviated on putting a time boxing in BA, because all the time frame of everything is with the project management. So in BA phase, I don't think there is any time in there, if I'm getting it right. Because when it goes to BA, it's already the kickoff of the project.
Right. So how you explain that, Hardil?
Oh, he went off, maybe his connection or something.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So yeah, so that the first thing that when he was explaining project manager tasks, okay,
Mm-hmm.
so the project manager just asked the different stakeholders, technical stakeholder like BA manager and development manager and all that, like
Mm-hmm.
how many resources that you need to finish those projects, and resources means like how many BA you need,
Yes.
and what is the time basically you need for each resource.
Mm-hmm.
So the information that project manager gather, that is in term of like hours. Like BA manager says like I need to put like two warm body, mean
Mm-hmm.
two people, and each will take like 500 hour to finish this project.
Mm-hmm.
Development manager says that I need 600 hours for each of three resources to put on it to finish that. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
so that is the data that project manager gets from those like managers. Okay. So those and based on that data, and based on the previous data the project manager has, what the project manager has previous data, he has a timeline for his like that when it would be that expected release, mean like when the they want that to be done. When he got assigned the project, he will have like that project basically like a request document. In there they will mention they want, if it is like Black Friday deal, it's for 2023, so that means that has to be released by mid September 2023. So that is his like hard stop. So all his planning that what he do will make sure that the deadline is met. Okay. So based on, but the information the initially the project manager gathering from the their like stakeholders, technical stakeholders, or BA managers and all that about the resource. When he is doing resource planning, is basically how many warm bodies you need and what hours you need for each. Okay, so that's what, and taking up that information and then putting it on paper and calculating that, that hours into basically like, weeks and months,
Mm-hmm.
and mostly like, hours into weeks. That is basically like, and based on that week, so you will put that in a month, like, so that is what here is not like, the other way, around. So that was one mistake that was there when he
Made.
explained. Okay, so definitely, then when the planning is done and the project is kick off, then BA starts. So BA has a time box. BA has a
Mm-hmm.
deadline that he has to start the project. With, say, like, from uh, like example I have that
Mid
BA,
February.
like by mid February he has to finish it. Start from the January one and finish by mid February. So that is his, like, the BA's initial time box. Okay, to finish that, that is his deadline to finish the business analysis tasks. That is his deadline for that. And then later on, that then he the next deadline is for the system analyst. Okay, and the next deadline for the development team, the next deadline for the QA team. And there is, like, the when the ball will be in business analyst court, that is when he is doing the business analysis or she is doing the business analysis. Then later on, he is just playing with, when, you know with the system analyst, partnering with them, then development partnering with them, and then testing partnering with them. But the main responsibility lies on them. Okay, make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Makes
So,
sense.
mhm. So, all right. So, anybody else has like made a presentation that you want to, share, or
Yeah. It's okay. Unless you want us to share, I don't know.
no? If
But
you
yeah,
have,
basically,
made something, then I would love to,
yeah,
see.
I just made something
Okay.
simple
Yeah.
on the like a
Hmm.
project on, I think it's a business project. So beginning,
So,
you said we should act as project managers, right? So as a project manager for the
yeah.
whole
So you can share,
business.
basically, like, you can share the screen. You know how to do that?
Oh,
There would be a share
I,
screen button
yeah, I
in the
didn't
chat.
put it in my computer. I wrote
Oh,
it
okay.
down. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Okay,
it
then.
was in a written form. Yep.
So yeah, so now, I mean, in future, I want you guys to, like, basically make something, and you would be
Okay.
able to, like, share it, because this is also a skill that
Yes.
you have to learn and you have to practice, because it would be used on daily basis, that you are sharing your screen, any presentation or anything, or any document that you are showing,
Mhm.
asking other to share and all that. So you have
Okay.
to basically get used to used to this tool, and becomes like kind of, skilled in this.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so go ahead, what you made, like.
So yeah, the project is like to build a company, business company, for example. So as a project manager, I did my resource planning, like human resource. I will go with the knowledge that we are working on here. So I needed my human resource hardware and software, like whatever I need for the whole project. So the first thing I did was to contact the IT management team. That was the BA manager, the development manager, the QA manager, and all the architects that I needed. So then after that, I reached out to each of them, like the managers, and asked, for example, the BA, and to ask them the time that they need to finish the projects, like each and every one of the managers. So I had to reach out to them, then to get their time frame. So the BA manager needed like a full-time BA for about 300 hours. So I wrote that down. I took everything. Then I did the same for the development manager, the QA, and the architect. Then I went ahead and prepared a timeline when they came back with all their informations like, okay, this is when we want to start. This is the number of time that I will do on my project. So I wrote their time down. So each of them had like a month, 1 month for the BA, 1 month for the system analyst, 1 month for the development, 1 month for the QA. So after I prepared the timeline and everything was set, we were now ready to kick off with the project. So to kick off with the project, we had to reach out to the BA because the BA is the person that actually starts working on the project. So we went to as a BA now we started with the analysis phase. So the analysis phase was to document all the requirement, the user needs, and uh maybe prepare like the user story. Then that was that. And the BA plan was to work on it for a month. So after a month, the BA was done. So whatever was left to do was just to reach out to the system analysts, see if they have any question on requirements, and then reach out to the development team. Sometimes create meetings once in a while or every other day just to touch base with the other people working and then doing the same with the QA reaching out, helping to answer questions about the project. And yeah, that was it.
Okay, that
Yeah.
was good. So then next, who's gonna go next?
I think it's just two of us. Brilliant is not here.
I
I saw her,
saw.
I don't know, but she disconnected. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. And I see Zuri. Zuri, are you there too? Are you?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, then your turn.
So, actually, I didn't take the last class actually, so I
Okay, all
am
right.
not sure.
So you are here, so I will embarrass you that you missed your homework and you missed the class. Okay. All right.
Yes, I
You
I was here and I kind of missed the class.
okay. So all right. So next time we will give you punishment if you missed the class or didn't did the homework. All right.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So let's start today session.
Mm-hmm.
So we will kind of step back and go from the start with the project manager role, and even before the project manager, let's go to the basically like the initiation phase, like that, how the project get initiated. We discussed that, and before the initiation we discuss basically basic IT concepts like physical and digital business. And when we say like the digital business, so everything that uh, being managed with the softwares, that all the business processes and the business operations, that is part of the digital business. So there's every business now have a huge part of their operation that is being managed digitally. So everything that comes under it, that is IT. Okay, and it's almost in every industry, and not only in industries, now in the government business operations too. Like you will see the government has like a lot of like job, especially during the COVID. They moved that to basically work from home, or mostly like the partly work from home, and then uh, kind of combination. So with that said, everything comes under IT. The point is that, And then in IT, the work is done in form of projects, and the projects has a starting point and an ending point and a budget associated to it. So it's a piece of work that is being done within a specific time. And the project has broadly, like, for the understanding, three phases. It's initiated, and then it's like the planned, and then it's executed and finalized. Okay. And usually, like, in those digital businesses or any businesses, that project initiation happens when those business operation folks are discussing some opportunity, or they are discussing some problem they have. Okay. So there are two basic scenarios in any business operation, okay, or business development, that either they are solving some of their business problem, which is then in turn helping them to make more profit, more money, or there are some opportunities they are trying to grab so they can make more money on that opportunity, or more and if we will just replace the word money with value, which is kind of the have a more broader concept, because when we say money, it's just like kind of hard cash usually we comes up into our mind. But if we will say the value, then it's more broader, because then it's not just the money, it's a lot of other value to the business, that anything that is valuable for the business, that will come under that. So we will now more use like a word value, that it will, so they will be doing any problem solving which add value to their business, and they will be grabbing some opportunity or trying to work on it, which will in turn add value to their business. So that's and the discussion when happens, and then there comes the idea that we need IT helps here. A project is being created, and a request document, project request document, is then basically that is the outcome of that activity of initiation of that project. Okay. And then we discussed that project charter too, that how it like looks like. So basically it will have that information of basically whatever the business department is, introduction of their business operation, and then it will have that problem statement or opportunity statement, why they want it. It will have explain what they want and why they want, and then a little bit information about what is the impact of their want or need. So, and additional information they you will find in that document. Basically, stakeholders are the people who are sponsoring, their name and contact information. Okay. So that's what happened during the initiation, and then we discussed that in the execution we have like a team who work on execution, and from the initiation to like a uh, initiation to the next planning and execution, there is a handoff between business operation and the IT operation, or IT development team leadership. So they discuss all those projects that are in the pipeline, prioritize them, and then basically, then the IT side uh, assign those projects to different teams. Okay. And then we have basically an IT team who is going to execute the project, and we need to remember that what are the component of those IT team, or what are the resources who make up an IT team. Okay. So we have a project manager, we have a BA, we have developers, we have QAs. So these are mostly like the resources that are integral part of an IT team. Okay. And then business analyst, what they does, they act as a liaison between business and the the IT. And then system analyst, they are the basically designer of the system. They prepare a detailed design of the system. Developer, what they does, they write the code, they develop the functionality that is needed to fulfill business and system requirements. And then QA, who then test the system end to end. Test the system means whatever the functionality based on those system and business requirements are being built by the developer, they are being tested by the QA. And at the end, user acceptance testers, those are mostly like the stakeholder representative, or the stakeholder who finally test the system before it is being released for the users. Okay, so that's our team. We discuss the team, and then after that we from one resource who gonna go work first on that project, that is a project manager. And what are the tasks of the project manager? There are two type of tasks that if you will like basically uh, basic divide it. If you want to divide those tasks, there are two type of tasks. There are tasks that the project manager does before the project is kick off. Means during those tasks, only one person from the team, that is the project manager, would be working on those like tasks. And that we discussed, like the project manager does all the planning for the project, in which resource planning and the preparing timeline and creating those documentation. Okay, and also one another task that was like missed, that was basically, you can say, there is the fourth task, that creating and managing project space. Okay, so project documentation space, usually like a you know example, SharePoint site. So this is another task for the project manager, you know before kicking off. That project manager create a SharePoint site or a shared space where which is only accessible to the project team. And the project manager act as a basically like a gatekeeper for that space. Means he create that space, and he assigns basically like access to that space. Okay, so that is four major tasks that a project manager does before project kickoff. And then kickoff happens, and in the kickoff he invites like all the stakeholders, and if he had already team identified, means like he got the name of people, developers and others, they are already with the company, and they are present at the time of the kickoff. Means developer are there in the company, they are not working on the project yet, but they are there in the company. Then project manager invite those developer and tester, or and the other stakeholders in that kickoff. Okay, and the BA basically whole, you can say, whole of the IT team, if they are already they are in the company, means they are not working on this project yet, they will work, but just have them to attend those meetings. So invite them, so they will know what's going on. And when they're basically, they don't have any task at that point of time, but they know that this is they will be working on in future. Okay, so that is one, if they don't have for example, they just have the BA but they haven't a developer and QA identified, or the company might have to hire them yet, they haven't hired them yet. Okay, so then who's going project manager is going to invite their managers. Then QA manager, dev manager, he will invite them in that kickoff. But there will be somebody kind of a representative of those development and testing team there, along with the BA and other stakeholder. Okay, so that's how kickoff happen. And after the kickoff, then there are certain tasks that project manager have to do, uh, like post kickoff means when they start the work, then project manager also have some tasks. And then what are the tasks of the project manager? Because project manager is working from, if the project is ending by July 30th, project manager is working on this probably uh, mid October till July 30th. Okay, if the project have kick after the kickoff, and the kickoff might happen by mid December. Okay, project manager started working on that by uh, mid October, and the project is gonna end by mid July, mid June, say mid June. So the hearing during whole time, project manager is responsible for smooth running of that project and finishing up on time. So the main task then that is basically when the ball is only in the court of the project manager, pre kickoff. Like these four tasks are kind of when only project manager is working. And then there are four another tasks that he does during the next all phases of the project. Okay, and that is basically status meeting. So what that means, the project manager schedule a status meeting between basically a team and the stakeholders, just to maybe 30 minutes meeting every week or every other week, to update keep the status updated, that what has been done, analysis phase is done, and it's like where we are at, and how we are doing, if there is any risk. So basically, purpose of that meeting is to identify if there is any risk to the deadline. Okay, any risk to any of these phase deadline or the project deadline, identify that. And then basically or if the stakeholder, they are just like kind of nice to have to attend that meeting, they will get the meeting invite too. So if they have any question, they can ask the question about just about the status of that project. Okay, so that's the status meeting. Then the project risk management. So whenever the project manager find out that there is some risk to the deadline, or risk to some phase completion, then basically project manager take up that risk and work on that, managing that risk, mitigating that risk, and doing all that the risk analysis and risk mitigation tasks. And the third is basically uh, project budget management, and that is actually the team time management. Remember, initially when a project manager asked their managers, there were like some estimates given that BA need 400 hours, and this development need like a 5 member need 300 hour each. So those would be assigned by the project in that project management tool, and where they will like submit their hours and all that. Okay, so and project manager will basically approve their hours after every week. And if there would be like any issue with that, then project manager will basically help the team. Or if the team is like kind of for example, so only BA is working on the project, in the business analysis phase, but development team start logging their hours. So what it will tell the project manager? They're doing it wrongly because they haven't started the work yet. Yeah, if they attended some meeting, 2 hours, 3 hours, they'll be fine. But if they are start logging like 40 hours, then project manager will like ask the question and work with them to So all those kind of budgetary management and the team time management, all that, because here the time is connected with the budget. So all those are estimates that can change, and but the he is the gatekeeper of that budget like management and the time management for the team. So this is the task that project manager keep going till end of the the project. Okay, and then certainly maintaining that project space, maintaining SharePoint site. Okay, and giving access to team members. Okay, and that's kind of miscellaneous task that project manager have to do. But maintaining SharePoint server, giving access, or anything related to the project health. Okay, so that is what are the basically project manager task when the project is on the basically run. Okay, so any question on it?
No.
I make sense what we discussed. So we
Yeah,
kind
it
of
makes sense.
right. We added few more things in our the project manager basically role. So
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of overall summary of the project manager role, like what the
Okay.
project manager does. This is all the project manager does. And if you would be able to practice a few scenario
Mm-hmm.
that like with few examples, then you can also apply for the project manager role, because you would be able to, like, this is basically, you can say that is the secret recipe.
Okay.
Okay, these are the task wise. So if when you are basically giving the interview, they are okay, as a project manager, what you did. Okay, as a project manager, I worked on this project, with XYZ company, and the project was about, we were enhancing the capability of existing software, which was like, with this industry. And my role as a project manager, I did the when I got assigned the project, I worked to do the project planning. So basically, I did first resource planning, worked on human resources that needed hardware, software resources. So what I did, I contacted with the the stakeholders, IT managers, and other. So ask them, like, for example, BA manager, I asked how many hours of the resource that you need to take, took those hours from the for the business analyst and for the system analyst, for developers, put that on my timeline sheet, and prepared a timeline that when the project is starting. For example, it was like starting from January till ending in mid June. So as per BA, the hours were based on the hours. It was like a month and a half to finish that requirement analysis, and system analyst, like to doing the system design and analysis, was for another month, and then development team was like a couple of months, and the QA was month and a half. So everything, I put that on the timeline and prepared that document. And then I also worked on creating the project SharePoint site, I'm very handy with the SharePoint, so I created that SharePoint site where I put all those project document that was there, which I created, for example, like all that resource plan and the project timeline, the document I put over there, and then I also put a stakeholder contact information sheet over there. So, and then I also work with their managers to identify that who would be the persons working on those projects. So
Mhm.
I got information about contact and number of our business analysts, have invited the BA and allocated have the BA basically like onboarded. After the onboarding, giving him access to the SharePoint site, and then I also asked for like who gonna be the developer and testers, and I got few names for the developer, but the tester team, they said like they're gonna hire the resources, so they will give that resource later. So invited those developers, BA, and the QA manager in our project kickoff meeting. In the project kickoff meeting, then I presented that the project charter, that this is the project, this is what they are looking, and this is the budgetary allocation. These will be the resources who will be working on that, and then that was it uh, for as a project manager, and then I was then keeping the status meetings every week, that what's going on with the project, and if there is any risk identified with any type of risk to the project, then working on that to mitigate and manage the risk. And I was also then during the project working on the budgetary management and the team time sheet management, ensuring that the team is logging their hours accurately so that we don't go over budget. And yeah, and that's what like I was doing as a project manager. Okay, so that is basically end to end activity answer to your project manager. And only what thing you have to add in there, just project and the company that I work with this company, and the project was about this, and my
Yeah.
role, that was again basically one version and other version, but the same thing.
Mhm.
Okay, so basically that's what I was saying. Now, if you will put those examples, and then you would be able to not only able to like crack the interview, you would be able to actually do the job of a project manager. Okay, with a few more exercises and some of the mock projects, you would be able to do the job as a project manager. Okay, so
Yeah.
that was a role of a project manager that we went, and then uh, the second, that is the role the BA. So the BA is the second person who will start working after the project manager. Okay, and what does the BA do? The BA work with the stakeholders, okay, and gather and document the requirements. BA work with the stakeholder, gather and document the requirement, and then communicate those requirements to like system analysis team, or a system analyst, or architect, whoever basically designing the system, and then uh, help them, basically partner with them in the system design process. And when the system design is done, then work with the development team, who will basically write the code, and if they have any question about the requirement, answer that questions, and then at the same time work with the QA team, and uh, answer all the questions that they need to know about the requirement, give them requirement overview, help, and sometime also help them to write the test cases or test scripts. And when the development gets completed, then actively work with the QA team while they are doing their testing. And once the BA answer any question about the business requirement document or any task, maybe like they find some defect and they ask for the BA, can you log it in the system for them? Okay, so just helping around, but the main responsibility is any question they have about the user requirement or anything they found that is affecting the requirement, and also maintaining traceability metrics, which is nothing just a metrics, which is basically like aligning requirement with the solution, and then the solution development and testing of that solution. So, if the requirement is like first requirement is R1, then system analysis like would be like S1, development will be D1, and testing will be T1. And just like R2, R3, R4, S2, S3, S4, and D2, D3, D4, and
Yes.
T, yeah, just like that. So just a kind of traceability matrix, Excel, maybe in Excel sheet or whatever the tool that organization use uses to keep that traceability matrix. And that is basically other tasks that business analyst does during the development and the testing phase. Okay, and when the testing is completed, that means product is ready to be released. So before the product release, there is a one activity that is called user acceptance testing,
Yes.
right? And in that activity, basically what happens that you know whoever are the stakeholders, they have to basically give the blessing to the solution. Whoever the stakeholder who requested, who invested in the team, are building that software. So either they will or their representative, a subset of representative, whoever they like allocate, will uh, test the system, the functionality that your team built, and then give the blessing and go ahead to basically release. So that activity is called user acceptance testing, or UAT, simply. So BA usually act as a user acceptance testing lead, means a guide who basically coordinate that user acceptance testing process. Okay, mostly BA does. Sometimes QA lead, one of the lead from the QA does that too, but mostly BA does. Why it make more sense for the BA to do that activity? Because BA is the person who is working with those, the business operation folks,
Mhm.
from the beginning. And BA is the person who spent most of the time with them, talking to them. So the repo BA has developed, none other technical resource has with the stakeholders. So it makes more sense to have BA lead that activity, because level of communication and ease to the team would be when the BA is basically coordinating. Okay, so that's why it's make more sense for the BA, and most of the organization they have BA to do that. But still, like it depends on, like, some organization have the QA, because the QA have done that testing already. That's like QA has done the system testing as well as user testing, and QA has all that basically data or credentials that needed to do that testing. Okay, and when VA does testing, he asks QA to provide those credentials or create those credentials. Okay, so another aspect that here I want to basically highlight, that the development is happening in an environment, or which is the development environment. So usually what happens, that whenever the code is written, so in there are concept of environment, that, or server. Okay, environment or server. So these are basically like virtual spaces. Okay, where the system like sits, and there is a dev environment, development environment. There is a QA or test environment. Okay, and sometime there is a UAT or staging environment too. Okay, so these are basically like the three environments that team use, and then there is a fourth environment which is basically production or prod or live. That is basically user faced environment. So to give you more concept what it means, so the Best Buy uh, like or say like this American Express site, that what you see, this is basically which environment it is. Guess, just guess which environment it would be out of these like four environment. What do you think, which environment this site is that we can see over the internet? It is a production or live environment. The fourth environment, it's a
Yeah.
production or live environment, and this is user faced environment, because as a user on the internet we can see this. Okay. Developer doesn't go in this environment and fix anything. Tester doesn't go in this environment and test anything. Okay, where they go, they have their own environment, development environment, and the testing environment, and there is a staging environment. So everything basically, so imagine these are like four containers which have excuse me. Okay, so these are four containers. So this what you see over here, Express, AmericanExpress.com. Okay, so this will be having, it's like in dev environment, it will be like a dev.americanexpress.com, and that will only be available within the company on the intranet, but it will not be available for internet user. It will be not be on internet, but just intranet. And similar, if you will go and click this dev environment, probably you would hit like not available or something, because it will not be available on internet. But for intranet, when they go, it is like kind of exact replica of this, like you won't have a dev environment access. It is exact replica of what the like production environment. Okay, it is the exact replica of production environment. Everything look, feel, everything is the same. So what happens, that every month or every 3 months, they like take a copy of this prod environment, and they deploy it in the test They deploy it in the QA and deploy in the dev. And though those are the space, and then whenever the new functionality being developed, when the development is done, they pick up that code and then deploy in the test environment. And when it is tested, then they deploy from here to staging. And when the UAT is done in the staging, then they finally deploy that new functionality to the prod environment. Okay. So this is basically like how it is done. So the why this is being done, because if anything breaks in while the development, it will not impact the customer. Okay. Or in anything break in the testing, it will not affect the customer. While they're doing UAT, anything breaks, it will not affect that live environment, because live environment is basically which is the user faced. Anything messing up with that has like kind of a huge impact. For example, like uh, there was an incident with Delta Airline that happened while they were deploying basically the solution from the basically their UAT environment into the prod. So the they missed some of the test scenarios. Okay, the testing was crappy. They didn't executed all the scenario, and they deployed it. So what happens after the deployment? Uh, the tickets that from like Minneapolis to Hawaii was $70. Ticket from like to Dubai was $100 for Delta Airline. So almost for 2 hours, like after the deployment, that what happened. Like after for 2 hours, there was like almost like more than 10 or $15 million loss, because whoever bought the ticket, the company has to, from the Delta airline, the company is responsible to provide the service. They have to provide them basically like the service. Like they bought the ticket, doesn't matter, like they bought it from the Delta you know airline side, so they have to took down the site for when it got captured, because it's kind of the viral that hey, this is happening. And a lot of people went there, and around like 10 or $15 million worth of tickets, which like 10 or $15 million like loss that happened due to that, because the normal price was like 600, and they just got like $60. So that's how important it is. So they don't touch live environment, and whenever the deployment happens, it happens on the off time. Means like if they are deploying on the prod, usually at like 12 a.m. at night. So very less users are almost like closer to non-user are using that at that time. Okay, so most of the organization as the practice, they have their off time, and they do any changes during their off time. Okay, but the idea over here just gives you concept that for those environments. So any questions so far about like environments or servers?
No, I'm good.
All right, so yeah, so environment or server, they are exact replica of what you see on the prod, and but they are physically separated. Means
Mhm.
the dev environment is physically separated from the test, and the physically separated from UAT and the prod. So changing in dev does not impact any other environment except dev. And there is a process whenever you like a deployment process, whenever you make drive those changes from one environment to another, there are gatekeepers and a process in place to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So these are basically like uh, like we were talking about. Let's get back to user acceptance testing. That
Mm.
BA, which environment user acceptance testing would happen?
Like where the user acceptance testing will happen.
Yes, which environment they will be using while doing the user acceptance testing. Will be they using QA environment?
Mm,
Yeah,
no,
QA. No,
Will be
to be
the
able to
using
use a
dev
QA.
environment?
they will be using the no, not the dev environment. They have their own environment. I think
Exactly.
the
They will be
environment
used.
has separate.
Yes, there's a environment name is a UAT staging environment.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
staging.
so there be
So concept of staging is basically when you
Mm-hmm.
stage something that when it is ready. Usually, like staging is like stage or staging is used in the real estate when they basically like stage the house for selling.
Yes.
Okay, so just like that, that's a staging
They have
environment.
their own environment, like they don't go to QA environment or to dev environment to go to
Right.
user
And
acceptance
even
testing.
right. Even they want to go, they won't have access.
Yes.
Okay, so those environment like uh, each environment they have own URL, means like they will
Mm-hmm.
have their own address, like UAT might have a UAT one dot America Express.com. Okay, and so to when they will like go to that environment, so this page will not open. In fact, they will ask them to, there is like a password protected, then this becomes like that environment becomes password protected. So they have to log in, maybe like just American Express, a simple page will open and will ask to the login right there. So this is basically like then becomes password protected for that environment. Okay, when they will log, then they will like go and to basically like environment login and then create their users in there. Okay, so they will have so to get those environment credentials, when I was like talking that a QA hold the credential for the QA, dev hold the credential, or so usually like there's a for developer if working, so one of the developer, senior developer will also basically like is called lead developer, who basically own and set up that development environment. Okay, and one of the lead QA will be like a QA environment. Okay, and then UAT environment, if there is already there, so then that's like they will provide, but QA and developer both work to get UAT environment set up. So these environment are being set up for the projects. Okay, so this is also a task for the development. Developer cannot start the work if the development environment is not set up.
Yeah.
Okay, so first task of the developers, when the system design is happening and finishing up, then developers are setting up those like development environment. They are doing setting up those environments basically. So for setting up these environments, there are some developers task and some QA task. So developer have to do coding piece, and the QA have to test those environment, that so basically like what basically they pick up that copy of exact replica of the prod, and they deploy that in that environment, and the QA test that everything is like working. And similarly,
So
they Mhm.
so developers are the one that create the environment, like they are the people responsible for that. And testers will test the environment before they start working in them.
Right. So similarly, like
Okay.
when we will go in detail, uh,
Mm-hmm.
you know, for the development role, then we will discuss in detail. But right now,
Okay.
the development and the testing team both, they work to create these environments. Okay,
Okay.
so
Mm-hmm.
developer cannot start their work until the development environment is ready, because this is the environment where they have to write the code. Okay, so that is mostly like correct, but sometime there is a exception to the rule. Sometimes these environments are not ready because developer was not onboarded on time. So now we have in a time crunch, so developer cannot start work until the environment ready, but developer can do the work on their basically like personal laptops, and like local machine, we can we call it like kind of, each laptop is a local basically like, server. Okay, so they can create that code in their local, and wait until dev environment is ready. Okay, so because creating that environment is like multiple people will have task, like development will have to write some code, and then there is some of that, because environment means that there would be whole replica of that production. Okay, so there will be some data points or data that enablement needed, and a lot of other accesses that would be needed for that environment to run. Okay, so and it is a time taking process. No matter how big are the organization, the more complex organization are, the more time it's like take. So usually it's like takes like 2 to 3 weeks to set up environment in kind of very active for a very active company, or the company who are very you can say that vibrant are fast paced. The real word is fast paced companies, like like 2 to 4 weeks. That is in fast paced companies, but the companies where are like people working style is kind of laid back. There it can take months. For example, for the government, projects, it takes months to get those environments set up, and sometime the people just they have to wait for that, and they are just sitting doing nothing getting paid. So that happens too. So it depends on like how the company is. So all right, so this is it for today. Today we focused on basically like uh, the environment that is and project managers like task post kickoff task that we focused on. Okay, and also we focused on UAT, and in the UAT, yeah, business analyst lead the UAT. Tomorrow we will be explaining UAT in detail. That would be first, and then we will go back to next, like how the business analysis is done by the business analyst. So that would be the kind of in detail role of BA, basically how they perform the job. Okay.
All right.
So now
Any
we are done with project management. Are we going to have like a scenario based something on it?
right. So
Like
role of
scenario
a
based
right, right.
examples, rules.
So role of a project manager is done. Okay.
Mhm.
So one thing we can do, we can basically like before going further, can take like couple of session, and go over some of the example as a project manager, and then basically like do a project basically where you work as a project manager, do few like assignments, so that we consolidate the role of a project manager.
Yeah, like also I don't know, the software they use, is there any specific thing they use to gather the requirement?
Mhm,
Where are they having like their discussions if they want to reach out to the stakeholders, for example,
mhm.
if they want to reach out maybe to the BAs, the
Exactly. So this
managers.
is your assignment basically for today.
Mhm.
That all those, so now you know the role of a project manager, and
Yes.
now I will put you on a project as a project manager. So all
Okay.
those questions
Mm.
that you are currently identifying, so act as a project manager and identify what question are there.
Okay.
Okay, so we
Mhm.
need to, because now you are thinking more practically that if I have to
Yes.
do as a project manager, where what I'm gonna do, where I'm gonna get this, that, everything. Okay,
Yeah.
so take like any example, say mm, American Express is the company, and you are gonna work on a project with them. So they're
Mhm.
adding a another card, like credit card, for their business customers. Okay, and that is a project, and you are working as a project manager with American Express. So that is American Express. So based on, I explained you what the project is, what the company is, and now from that you have to, as a basically start creating those uh, documents, asking those questions, that as a project manager, and also create those, I'm your stakeholder. Okay, I'm the stakeholder, both technical and operational. Okay, so basically, for you, I'm the stakeholder BA manager. I am the dev manager. I will be representative for any technology management, as well as I will represent basically business operation. Okay, so right
Okay.
now, I as a basically program manager, I told you, hey, project manager, you will be working on this project, and this project is about that American Express want to add a new card in their arsenal for the business customers. Okay, so that's what we have to do, and we have a $1 million dollar budget for this project, and you will be working on that. So tomorrow you would basically come up all the questions from any of the stakeholder. I will give you answer, and you're gonna create basically all those documents. Okay, so that is for you, and for Amar. Do we have Amar? Okay, who we have here? Okay, for Brilliant, you, which type of company that you want?
Doesn't matter any company, including
Okay, you
company.
like traveling?
Yeah.
Let's give you Delta Airline then. Okay, so Delta Airline is the company, and they want to basically increase their customer retention. You can say that, what is the idea that, we will create, enhance this existing booking system, that anybody who's a repeatable customer, they just basically would have access to their the previous purchase, and some of the data that they added previously, that will auto populate when doing their reservation. Okay, so basically, considering their phone number or email as a primary parameter, they will, whenever they will come back and buy another ticket, the system will basically prompt them to uh, find out the previous information. So currently, what is the current state, that currently, we have a sign up and login, as well as a guest checkout. So this enhancement, we want to increase that. Instead of the guest checkout, they becomes our member. They would have a login, and they will put all that information over there. So we what the company observed, that the people who has a login with the company more frequently basically return and buy with the Delta. And lately we are seeing a lot of people are just guest checkout and going away. And based on the data, they found it we need some enhancement in there. So you would be working on this project. The project budget is $2 million, and uh, as a project manager, you will basically come up with any question, and I will be your stakeholder for operational as well as technical. So you're gonna ask me, and then create all those documentation that you needed for your resource planning and everything. Okay, So this is your basically assignment. And then for hurdle, what type of company you are interested in?
I can do anything sports related, I guess. Yeah.
Sports. Okay. Okay. All right. So there is company. So
Good.
Dick Sporting Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So uh, they have some new product line they want to increase, like include, and that is the project, and that line is gender neutral. So means that would be available for both men and
Woman.
women. Okay.
Yeah.
And this project is like a $700,000 project, and it the deadline is basically like have to complete in uh, like within a year. Okay.
Okay.
So the budget for that is like $1 million, and you are would be working as a project manager. So any question that you have, you should come up with that question, and then we will basically go from there. All right.
Okay. All right.
So tomorrow you the table is gonna turn. Basically, like what I'm expecting that you will take the charge and act as a project manager and ask questions to me, like do the resource planning, do like so I will give you guys like 15 minutes each. So come up with the question and ask all those things, because this is a basically product project that you will be doing as a project manager.
Okay.
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 Can you remind me my project again, please? This is Amado.
Okay, this is recorded, so you would will get that basically recording too. But your project is basically like American Express,
Okay.
so they are adding a new uh, business credit card for their business customer. Okay,
Okay.
and that is your with this project you will add that credit card in our like the currently basically like current offers. So this will be new edition. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So that was it for today, and you will get the link for the training. And and Zuri, your project is to basically be a project coordinator and help all three of the project managers. All right. Okay. So any questions so far?
No.
Okay, then I
So,
will see you guys tomorrow, and like come prepared, and like now you guys need to basically dedicating this like hours of training like an actual job. So prepare, have your laptop ready, and whatever you are presenting, it should be like a professional way. So until unless like you have some emergency, like, but I expect that we would be like no more serious, because the serious stuff is going on now.
All right.
okay.
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 All
Yeah.
right.
All
Yeah.
right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
See you guys tomorrow. Bye.
See you tomorrow.